So, how big of an impact does a person's family has on their success?
Whether your parents support you or they don't, it's your reaction to it that makes a difference. This is your life, and you need to decide what you're going to do with it.
This is going to be a great interview. It's going to be with Evan Carmichael. This is one of the guys who I feel like is such a impactful entrepreneur. So,
Okay.
I just want to welcome you to my new show. You're going to be the first guest, Ashley.
I love being the first
Yes,
guest.
you are.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
I want to be guest number 100 too. That's my request.
Okay, I got you. And the show is called Mad Talk, Making a Difference.
Okay.
It's all about spotlighting individuals that are in our world, making a difference, no matter how big of the impact it is or how small. It's all about making our world a better place. Our word, one word, why is care. With care, we just feel like our world needs to care more. Us as millennials, everybody that's in Creator Source Studios, we want to spread care around the world and show others that we do care and that somebody does care about what's going on. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and also explain your one word why in your book, One Word Why, a little bit?
So I'm an entrepreneur. I had entrepreneurial tendencies growing up. Having my first official business, I guess, when I was 19. That's when I decided to be an entrepreneur. Sucked as an entrepreneur when I first got started. I loved the work I was doing, but as a human, as a confidence, as a feeling like I'm doing something that is making a difference, I felt worthless. Like eventually kept going. I survived by modeling success, which is still something I really believe in today. Bill Gates saved my company, even though I've never met him, but by modeling how he built a software company, I built my software company. So a couple years later, built the company, sold it, then started helping out other entrepreneurs. YouTube or my books are probably where I'm most well known, between one of the two. Picking up my IG game as well recently, which I'm a fan of.
Yes,
And
sir.
I want to help solve the world's biggest problem: untapped human potential. I think everybody has Michael Jordan level talent at something, but they're not doing it, and that's my mission in life, to help uncover that. Your One Word is a book that I wrote, and I think everybody has a single most important core value. When you figure out what that is, it's the rock that you stand on. When people are pushing you and telling you what you should be doing with your life, everybody has an opinion on what you should do. Most people don't know what they should do themselves. And so when you know what your one word is, that allows the strength to be able to have the rock to stand on, makes every decision in your life easier. So mine is believe, Antoine's is care. When you know what yours is, it makes it a lot easier to live a fulfilled life, but also to go far and fast with your business.
Yes, sir. And I feel like so many people want to focus on the how, like, oh, how am I going to do this? But when you focus on the why, the how just becomes simple. It's something that you figure out over time. It's just untapping human potential. It's one of those things that I feel like can resonate with so many different people when it comes down to making a difference in this world. Can you go in a little bit more in depth on what your thoughts about untapping human potential is?
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is basketball.
Basketball, okay. And
Yes,
who's
sir.
the greatest baller of all time?
Michael Jordan.
I would say Michael Jordan is not the greatest basketball player of all time. And it's not LeBron either. And it's nobody that you think of, because the greatest basketball player of all time is managing a Starbucks right now, because he never picked up a basketball. And I think that's most people. I don't think Michael Jordan is that special. I think he's special because he found what he was great at and he applied the work ethic to be great. But I think everybody has that level of talent and capabilities at something. They're just not doing it. They're being an accountant, or they're studying something they don't want to study. They never found what the thing is that they could be great at, because they tried maybe 15 different things. They found one, they picked it, and that's what they're doing, but they're not happy with their life. And so I just think humans are extraordinary. I'm on Team Human for life. I think we're capable of doing amazing things. Everybody can be that genius level talent at something, and you've got to find it. And it breaks down to two parts for me. One is just finding it. A lot of people don't know what they're great at. And so you need to explore. Like, if you don't know what your favorite food is, what do? You try a bunch of foods. Like, how do you know that tacos are your favorite food when you've never tried pasta or pizza or anything else? So you got to try a whole bunch of things. Say yes to everything. It doesn't mean you say yes to things after one time, but say yes to everything once, to see, until you find a thing that you want to go back and do again. And then there are the other people who have found the thing that they're potentially great at, Michael Jordan level talent, but they just don't believe in themselves enough to go off and do it, or their mom said that they won't have success doing that, so go be an accountant. And so those two things, the self-awareness and then the belief, I think, are critical to helping you become that Michael Jordan at what you do.
Now, from there, how big of an impact does a person's family has on their success? Like, do you think, for the most part, a family should try to step out of the way to let their child try everything, let their family members try everything and see what it is that they're good at and what they like? Or do you think that level of protection helps, but it hinders that? Like, is there, because I know you're a father.
Yeah.
Yes. And let's say your son was to come to you and say, "Hey, Dad, I want to be like a hockey player," and you saw that they weren't as good as you think they should be to pursue that dream. Would you still try to let them pursue that dream, or would you try to, protect them and be like, "Hey, you can't do this," or would you even try to motivate them and say, "Hey, just try your hardest and do what it is that you can do so that you can get to that point"?
It doesn't matter what your parents think, it's your reaction to it that matters. So in my book, Your One Word, I have two examples from two NBA All-Stars. I forget their names now, but there were two NBA All-Stars. One of them said, "I'm here because of my dad, because my dad taught me how to be a good person and work ethic, and I want to be exactly like my dad, and like this is a tribute to him. I'm here because of him." The other guy said, "I'm here because of my dad. I never knew him. He was a deadbeat. He left me. He was never in my life, and I never want to be like this man ever. That's why I'm here." And they both made it to the NBA, and they're both all-stars, right? So
Mhm.
whether your parents support you or they don't, it's your reaction to it that makes a difference. If you want something, at the end of the day, you need to decide at what point are you going to live your life and not your parents' version of your life. When you're 5 years old, you don't have a choice. When you're 13 years old, you don't really have a choice. When you're 18, 19, 20, 25, you're 24, like 30, like
Mhm.
you have a choice now. Now this is your life and you need to decide what you're going to do with it.
Yes, sir. I agree on that. Something that I would like to hear your opinion on is, what's the first step to become more accountable for your life and to become more self-aware?
So I would say those are two different things. If you're doing self-awareness, then I would say any introspective tool, like my preferred tool is Your One Word. The book I wrote, I wrote it because I live it, I believe it. But if it's not Your One Word, if it's something else, anything that starts to help you understand core value, like it starts with your core values. Self-awareness starts with your core values. If you're about care, then you need to spread care. You will be happy when you are spreading care. You will be happy when you are around people who also care. And if somebody is not about care, they're going to be toxic to you. Now that you know that, you can design a life and a business around care. And some people will look at care and say, "Wow, that's the softest, stupidest thing of all time, man. Awesome. Like, don't hang around me, right? Like it's not going to work out. But between us, go do your thing somewhere else. It's amazing." And other people will look at Kara and be like, "Wow, this is insane. I love this. Like, I can't wait to work with Antoine. Like this podcast, I want to join him. How can I help? I want to be a guest. I want to help market it. I want to be in the comments." Right? Lots
Mhm.
of people need more care. So self-awareness, anything that looks down to core values helps. Then in terms of accountability, it's for me a lot about having a regular ritual routine and an environment that sets you up. So what does care look like on a daily basis so that it reminds you every morning? At least for me, I need a more like every morning is a fresh start. You might have had a great, like we have a great day here, we're having a good interview, we're going
Mhm.
on IG live is awesome. Tomorrow you're gonna wake up and it's like, what happened? It's over. Like you're starting all over from scratch again. And so having a morning routine that sets you up, like whatever that is that makes you feel care, whether it's gratitude, whether it's meditation, whether it's reading from the Bible, whether it's watching a video, reading a book, like listening to music, whatever the thing is that gets you set up and feeling care, do that. A physical environment, right? Like this is my office. It means something to me. All these people mean something to me. That's me and my parents when I'm 9 years old on the wall in the middle. They taught me believe. Like I walk in here and this means something to me. And so it's injecting so much care into your routine and your environment that it forces you to be accountable to that on a daily basis.
Yes, and I agree on that. It just comes down, like you said, you have to surround yourself with things that remind you of why do you do what you do. And That goes into we're going to backtrack real quick back to the thing that you were saying about entrepreneurship being the thing that changes the world and the thing that helps the world solve the world's problems.
Mhm.
How do you think entrepreneurship can start doing that? Like, how do you think entrepreneurs can start doing that from like day one, in your opinion?
So I think at the start, you need to figure out what is your pain. I think your purpose comes from your pain. And so the two biggest questions that get asked from millennials are one, how do I find my purpose? And two, how do I deal with my parents who don't believe in my dream? Whatever the pain is that you've had growing up, whether it's early in life or the past couple of years, I think humans are good. I think humans are built to serve. I think 99.9% of the planet are amazing people who want to help and do good. And we just blow up the other 0.1% of people. And those are the ones who make the media, like the terrorists and killers and all that stuff. But like people are good. We just don't hear about them. And so your ultimate happiness will come from serving others. If you are not happy in your life right now, up how much you're serving and helping other people, whether that's making a podcast or a YouTube show or IGTV or whatever. And so, if you think about the pain that you have been through, it's natural as a human to then, if you see somebody else going down the same road that you took, you want to make it easier for them. Like why I love helping entrepreneurs so much is yes, I think we're going to solve all the world's major problems, but because I struggled so much as an entrepreneur, because I had to eat beans for lunch every day and have to say no to my friends of spending $30 to go get pizza and beer, because I suffered through that, I see it in other entrepreneurs who are starting up and facing a grind, and I want to make their path just a little bit easier. It's why what I do. It's why the 254 confidence course is free. It's like I wish I had that when I was starting. I try to do as much for free as possible. And then the people who end up making it and growing, I can take them to the next level once they start making some money. But that's why I do what I do. And I think if you've identified the pain that you've been through, then you wanna help other people through the same path. And I think too often we try to run away from our problems, trying to run away from the pain. We don't want to live there. And it's great. Like you don't want to live there. You want to be positive and optimistic. But by going there, it allows you to serve and help other people who are there right now. And so I think that's one of the most important things to do is figure out what your pain was and how to turn that into purpose.
And talking about pain, because that's something that I wanted to speak to you about as well is that story. I remember I had one of your coaching sessions with Lily Ma. Shout out to
Okay.
Lily if you're watching this. She was talking about how the story, your story, like telling your story to others and expressing that to others so that they can understand why is it that my one word is care or
Yeah.
why your one word is believe. Now, how much impact does pain have on that?
So the reason why the story and the pain is important because the people who are listening need to know that you've been through what they're going through. By you coming out and sharing your story, whatever it is, again, and try not to hurt the people around you, right? Like if you were beaten by your mom, maybe you don't want to say your mom beat you because she's watching, but like
Yeah.
but family members or people close to you or something, right? By you sharing it, first of all, it gives the sense that it's okay to share it and for people who are watching to feel like they're not alone. Like I'm not the only person to have struggled through this. Like my mom beat me and you know what? I'm not alone. Other people have been through this. It's okay. And then every action that you then take, whatever you did on your journey, is a step in helping other people on their journey as well. Right? You
Mhm.
have to share it. It's your responsibility to get over the fear of judgment from these people who you're worried about, and you need to share it because you're going to save lives with your story and with your wisdom and your advice. If you haven't been through it and you're still going through it, like you don't have the answers yet, but you're determined to figure out the answers, even that journey, that story is important. Like whatever your fears or insecurities are, you may not have the answers yet, but you're trying to figure it out. Just you recognizing that you have these fears and insecurities and the willingness to share already is value. And then everything that you do to try to solve it, that's an inspiration. It's not just the results that's the inspiration. The willingness to try is an inspiration because so many people are so afraid to try, so afraid of judgment that they never actually do anything.
And speaking of underestimation, I feel like people, on a lighter note, I feel like when it comes down to kindness, people underestimate that because I've had an associate who told me to be successful as a entrepreneur, and this was a couple of years ago. Told me that to be successful as an entrepreneur, you have to be you have to be, an angry person. You have to be all those different things. You know what I mean? And for me, I feel like that's not really the thing that you should be doing. You know what I mean? So how do you feel about that statement of you have to be an to be successful as an entrepreneur?
I think some people can win by doing that. I think you lose long term if you don't treat the people around you well, not just in business, but as a human. Like if somebody gets off by being like that, I just feel bad for them. If somebody comes to my channel and leaves a negative comment, if somebody watches video and leaves some hate, I just feel bad for them. Like that's the highlight of their day, is to come and spread negativity. Like how bad must their life be that this is how they
This is how they do
express
what they
themselves
do.
in happiness, right? That's what I think too about your whole having to prove yourself to other people, them
Mhm.
underestimate. Like who cares? Who cares what they think? Like how bad must their life be that they don't want to support you in what you're trying to do? I inoculate myself against judgment, and I do it through two ways. One, through overdosing my system with believe, right? So your judgment, you think believe is stupid, awesome. Like good luck on your path. I have nothing to, I don't care about you. I have nothing to prove to you. But two, anytime I feel myself playing small because of somebody else's opinion, then I have to go and do that thing. Not because of them, but because I don't want to I don't want to live in fear of other people's opinions. Building a business and standing for something important, you're going to get lots of haters on your journey. The bigger the thing you try to build, the more you're going to have lots of supporters, but the more you're also going to have lots of people who try to tear you down. And so if you can't do something as simple as go on the street and make a video when nobody's watching on IG, to like, how are you going to go off and do this huge crazy thing?
I agree.
So I think it's that ability to inoculate yourself against judgment. I think if you live in a place of I'm going to show them, you lose. If you're only doing this to prove Uncle Joe wrong, like you lost.
That's the reason why I love the fact that we have entrepreneurs like Elon Musk doing things like when he helped those kids in Thailand. Just doing things like that. That's the type of stories that, I want to share. That's the type of stories that I feel like we should be sharing. But I also feel that at the same time, a lot of people can be scared by that. A lot of people can be scared by, oh, I don't think I have what it takes to change the world. I don't think I have what it takes to make a difference. How can I exactly do this? And you have to remember that, like you said, believe. You have to believe in yourself and believe that you are capable of doing it, because there's nothing different. And you have 1.4 million subscribers. You've been doing this for a long time. But let's be real. Biologically, anatomically, there's nothing different between me and you. There's no difference between it. And I feel like that's the thing that people need to learn so that they can start caring for each other more, but start caring for themselves.
Yeah, man. Like I think you're better than me. You're ahead of the game, man. Go back. Listen, you're how old? 24?
Yes, sir.
24. I would even go back 5 years on my channel
Hmm.
where how old was I? I was 33, a 9-year head start on you in terms of
Hmm.
life. Look at my videos from 5 years ago, and I think right now you're already better than I was 5 years ago for me,
Thank you. I
with a
appreciate that.
9-year head start, right? I think the key is people look to a finished product and they feel like they don't measure up. Like for me, do you know Les Brown?
Yes.
Okay, Les Brown is like a motivational speaker. For those of you who aren't familiar, now if you watch Les Brown, he's this kind of jovial grandfather, happy, laughy vibe. But young Les Brown is my hero from a speaker point of view. Like young Les Brown is fire unleashed, unstoppable. I love that guy. But if you're trying to be a speaker and you look to that version of Les Brown, you're gonna say, I'll never be that. Like if you look to Michael Jordan, you say, I'm never gonna be that. Look at him. I can never be like that. So it's unfair to look at where you are now compared to where somebody is at their peak. What you want to do is look at their journey, right? And say, well, look, listen, this is how he started. Like, go back and watch if you think I'm great, go back and watch my first videos. I sucked hard. Like, you're already better than I was when I started, and you're younger, right? It's ridiculous. It's awesome. Like, use that as inspiration. When I see a young Les Brown, I use that as a kick forward, not down. I think most
Yes.
people look at it as a kick down. They look at somebody who's achieved success and say, I can't do that. And they kick themselves down. Where I think you need to kick yourself. You use that as inspiration to kick yourself forward, though, because otherwise you just stay in the spot.
What kind of advice can you give content people who are making content like myself or anyone else, just creators in general, about streamlining content?
Honestly, I think people try to streamline too quickly. I don't
Okay.
think you should. I think a lot of people try to optimize too soon before they figured it out. So what you need to do is play, is get messy, is figure stuff out. So on YouTube, as an example, everything now is pretty streamlined. I still come in and I'm the chaos machine. I'm the guy who says, "Hey, how about we try this?" And it throws a wrench into everything, and we have to keep doing these little experiments. But while I touch every video, my team does most of the work. So we've got 8 people on my YouTube team. They're doing pretty much all the work, and I just inject a couple things every now and then. Instagram, I'm newer on, right? So I'm just getting started. I've got 16,000 followers or something instead of my 1.4 million on YouTube, and
Hmm.
I'm doing most of it. I'm hacking everything. Like I'm testing. I'm trying hashtags. I'm trying geotags. I'm trying live. I go live 4 times a week. I post 6 times a day on posts. Like me, it's me. I'm the one doing it. People say they don't have time. I don't have time for this. I'm doing it personally, right? It's me.
Hmm.
And I'm playing and I'm testing. I'm eating. I'm tasting the mud and I'm seeing what it's like and I'm seeing what's working. I'm getting the feel for it. And then once I figure out, okay, this is working, then I give that to somebody else to do. This is my typical process. Like figure out what works, make money doing it. I don't hire somebody till I'm making money.
Hmm.
Make money doing it, not a lot of money, but enough to then go hire somebody and say, here's what you do. And then my role is to then constantly try to tweak and improve and go through with updates. But I think a lot of people optimize just too soon before it's working. Like for you, even this show, let's take this show as an example. This is your first show,
Yes,
right?
it is.
I love it. This is the greatest. Like I'm so pumped to look back on episode 100 and say, man, that show sucked, right? Like it's the best. I love it.
I like it too.
And this is like one of my favorite first shows of all time. It's great. I think you're going to do really well if you stay committed to it.
Thank
Uh,
you.
the beginning part is messy. It's meant to be messy. It's the messiness needs to be the fun part, figuring all that stuff out. And then when you found something that works, you optimize it. You give it to a human or you give it to technology, whichever, and
Hmm.
then you create more mess somewhere else because that's what entrepreneurs, that's what we want to do. We want to keep innovating, keep coming up with new things.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I like that. And thank you for that, because that's something that got, because my team, I don't know if if I told you about my team, but I have 15 college students working with
Okay.
me right now. And I'm not paying any of them, but they're working with me on this. And sometimes we have a little trouble, just like I said, just trying to stay organized, do certain things that we're supposed to be doing because, we're college students, which
Yeah.
isn't an excuse, of course. I'm not using it as an excuse, but we're college students and they're not going to be as invested in this as I am, because I'm the creator
It's
of
your thing.
this,
Sure.
is my
Sure.
thing. But I feel like if we can put a little bit of them in everything that we do along with me and come to agreement about things, that's how you can really create a very lucrative but very collaborative just environment, because that's what I want this to be, a collaborative environment.
Yes. And whether they're paid or not,
Mhm.
yes. It's being massively flexible on the how and insanely stubborn on the why. And so, yes, bring it on your team. Yes, you want them invested. Yes, you want them to inject their own version of what care looks like to you or to
Mhm.
them, right?
Mhm.
They need to inject, they need to be on board. Like, we're about care. Here's what I want to accomplish. I want people to care about each other more. Within that framework, you can do almost anything if it works.
You really
Right?
could. You really
I'm
could.
willing to test. That's what you tell them, right? Like you want to launch a paint as you go care whatever video series, great. Like let's try it. If they're injecting their passion into it, it could work. Every idea can work, but it has to be within the realm of care. So all my videos are still like if you watch the Trump video or the Obama video, it's both positive. It's
Mhm.
always believe. There's nothing in there slamming anybody else. I'm spreading believe, man. I'm not injecting any message of hate anywhere. on my channel because that's anti-culture for what I'm doing.
So, I just want to say it was a pleasure to have you, Evan, in here, to be the first guest, and you're going to be the 100th guest, and then you're going to be the 1000th guest as
Wow.
well.
All right. Like, you're already committing me.
Yeah.
I just signed like a 5-year deal here.
Yes, you did. But you remember when me and Yule was talking to you through Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yes. You remember how we were saying that we were planning this event
At a school or something.
yeah, to help schools, and it was going to be at Towson. Towson kind of shut us down on doing that like a week ago. Yeah. Because they said that because we're a new student organization. We started a student organization at Towson. They said we're a new student organization. They said 90% of the student organizations that are new in the first year don't survive. They said that we don't have the resource or the manpower to do something like this. I'm not gonna lie, when that happened, it pissed me off. I'm gonna be real. It pissed me off. What would you say? What would have been your reaction if you was in my seat? How would you have reacted to that?
So the faster you can get to a place of like calm and empathy and compassion and care, as opposed to these guys are stupid, like they don't get it, I hate them, I can't believe this, like anger mode, that will dictate your success. I have trained myself that when something negative happens, it's the best. Our IG feed died halfway through. It's the best. It's awesome. I love it, right? It's the best.
Hey, I'm still keeping it too. We're gonna put that on there.
Yeah, great. Like we should have talked about it. Well, it happened, right? Like it's the best. I see it from two perspectives. One of it's not actually that bad a thing. Like what happened here is actually not that bad. It's not that. I mean, dude, it's not. There's other ways. Whether you work with another student group for this year just to launch the event and gain credibility, there's 1,000 ways to solve this problem. This is not a life-threatening, like super terrible thing. But then when I say that, then it's like, okay, well, like my mom abused me growing up. Is that the best?
Wow.
But like, but honestly, secretly, it's like, it's still the best. Because your purpose comes from your pain. The people who had no pain growing up, they have no purpose. Like it's really hard to go off and do something amazing when you had no issues growing up. Like nobody can relate to, if you're perfect and you had everything handed to you, you have no problems, like nobody relates to this perfect person. So that's my default reaction. Like that thing happens to me, this is the best. And I would do it through the lens of care. Like I'm going to care so hard on these guys that when we get our event happening with them, it's just going to be like, it's going to be the biggest hug fest of all time. Like these guys are going to love me. I approach, if I'm you, I approach everything through positivity and I'm going to show them. Like I want them to hug. I don't want to show them up at all. I want to hug them.
True.
So that's just a situation. It's okay. Like understand it and then use it and work with it. And you know what? If you do a good job, like maybe they're a little more caring for the next guy who looks like you to come around.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
I agree. Best. I appreciate it. Thank you for the advice. Yes. Oh, and that's the reason why we wanted you on here, because you have that positive energy that can vibrate to other people and that can bring people up. So I'm just going to end it off with this. Thank you, Evan, for coming in here. Thank you for always being an inspiration that you are. Continue doing what you're doing because you're helping a whole lot of people.
Good luck, Antoine. I'm cheering for you, man. Looking forward to number 100.
Thank you.
If you want to see another awesome interview I did, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.